Thank you. A very warm welcome to you and to my fellow panelists. Can an activist media be responsible? I think this is a question that has been asked forever in this country and elsewhere, but particularly in this country. However, it's difficult not to attribute a relationship to the current electoral and political context and the question that the CII has chosen to debate with us. Activist, media, and responsible. It is funny how during election time, both activism of the media and responsibility of the media come under the spotlight. It's also ironical and difficult to miss this connection as a media person, that this is one time when the whole nation wants to discuss the activism of the political class and the responsibility of the political class. And what do you get? Quickly somebody flips the question and says, oh, hang on. Shekhar, what is your understanding of an activist media? And do you think that the Indian media is activist or suitably activist?
Well, I think first of all, we should not be judgmental about activism. Activism is a good idea. A lot of people are full-time activists. But by being activist in the way that it has been, in fact, by being activist at all, the media gives good activists a bad name. Because the good activists, they bring out publications, they are whistleblowers, but they do activism. Media's job is not to do activism. Media's job is to be active. Because what happens is that in the name of activism, frankly, our whole training has been to avoid activism, is to scrutinize. Somebody brings you a fact, it looks fantastic, you have to check. You get taped conversations on the phone between Mr. A and Miss B. You don't just go and publish that and take the moral high ground without checking with Mr. A and Mr. B. You have to check with both sides. So journalism is a profession of patience. It's not a profession of activism. So activist media, to me, is irresponsible media, unprofessional media, because activism is what we are trained to avoid, as I said. We are qualified, and many of us are not even qualified. And most of us are passionate about asking questions, but not qualified, especially if somebody in power is trying to hide them. We have to check facts, cross-check, interpret, explain, to put them out as fast and clearly as possible to the reader, to beat the competition. That's not activist media, that is active media. Because I'll tell you what happens when you have activist media, a media website, an activist media watchdog website. You can't be more activist in the media than that. A website that keeps watch over the media, whose logo is Sabki Dhulai. People name names, I'll name names because they named the Express. They carried a story that a tanker near Dahanu caught fire in Bombay, on the outskirts of Bombay, and 7 people died. Right? It was a story that we also carried, almost every paper carried. So the website said that with the exception of the Hindu and the DNA, no newspaper dared to mention that this truck belonged to Reliance. It's a very bad thing. And they mentioned the Indian Express as one of the papers who did not mention the fact that the truck belonged to Reliance. And when I looked at the story, I found that our story said clearly this truck belonged to another company. It did not belong to Reliance. In fact, the owner of the truck had been spoken to, right? It's a different company, does something else, has no connection with Reliance. So when we pointed this out to the website, they added a last para in their story, saying, meanwhile, Indian Express in its story pointed out that the truck did not belong to Reliance. But what about the omission they carried out in any case?
But Shekhar, what you are pointing out is a plain, simple case of, if all the facts are correct, plain, simple case of incompetent journalism. That's poor trade craft, poor talent, poor.
But that's what
journalistic.
That's what activist journalism has come to.
That is what they might like to hide behind. That they are activists, and hence everything shoddy, incompetent, and poor that they do should be forgiven.
And then join after doing this for 7 years. And being forgiven all this, you join Aam Aadmi Party and threaten to send us all to jail.
Now let me go to...
Because for 7 years, we did not do this incompetent stuff. We must have been in the pay of Mukesh Ambani or somebody, right? No one else. In fact, Mukesh Ambani has no competition.
Listen, I don't know whether you were or are in the pay of Mukesh Ambani, but let me go to somebody whose pay you definitely were in for some time. That's Arun Puri. Arun, can I come to you and ask you that Shekhar, what he points out, I know that you have expressed a lot of frustration at the quality of journalism that gets practiced. But if we were to put that aside for a moment, what about activism per se? And, do you think activism is bad? And do you think activism is only irresponsible? And if I could just add one more sentence, don't you agree that journalism per se is about activism? Everybody in this room has a political point of view. Everybody has a point of view on Modi, Rahul Gandhi, and Arvind Kejriwal. Somebody decides to make that into a profession, obsession, and vocation for a lifetime. And you read, you hear the person's point of view, you pay him, employ him only for that point of view. So activism is the reason why you pick that person to be a professional. You've created a lot of journalists, more journalists probably than anybody else in this country. I'm not sure whether all of them are activists, all of them are not. But what do you think? How do you look at this whole thing of activism in media? Is it possible to be a good journalist, good media professional without having a gene of activism? And is all activism irresponsible?
Raise a lot of questions. As far as activism is concerned, I have a very simple view. There is good journalism and bad journalism. There is no such thing as activism or non-activism. I think if a consequence happens because of good journalism, which is a good consequence, it's a byproduct. I don't think journalists should worry about, except for very rare cases, consequences of their stories. I think the moment you start worrying, a journalist starts worrying about consequences of their stories, the stories get corrupted. And then you start having agendas. I think the biggest poison in journalism is journalists, editors, proprietors who have agendas. That means they have to promote a certain point of view, a certain interest, which is, I think, goes against the profession, goes against the code of conduct of the profession. It's just like doctors having an agenda or judges having an agenda. This is that kind of profession. So I think that activism should be nowhere near this. If it happens as a byproduct, I'm okay with it, regardless of which way it goes. So I think that activism should be completely separated, in fact, what Shekhar said, completely separated from the media. We may be perceived as active, and if we are perceived as activists, then I think that that is bad journalism. If it's good journalism, then if you told your story well, if you checked your facts, it leads to certain happy consequences or not so happy consequences, you may call it activist or not activist. But good journalism means going and finding out things which people don't know. Good journalism means making the powerful uncomfortable. Good journalism means that somewhere somebody wants to suppress the news which you want to put out. These are the characteristics of being a good journalist. So I think activism should be far away from it. And this business of, activist journalists being responsible or not, good journalism means that you're responsible. So activism, for me, doesn't even come into my dictionary of journalism.
So you said making the powerful uncomfortable. That's what good journalism is about. And therein, by itself, there is a certain agenda that comes in, that we shall put, if I hear both Shekhar and you right, both of you are saying, putting a lot of emphasis on very high quality scrutiny of, putting spotlight under, putting spotlight on activities, putting the spotlight on individuals and their deeds. Now, Rajdeep, if I were to come to you, how do you make people uncomfortable, make people in positions of power and influence uncomfortable without deciding that we shall pursue something until it has impact? And when that, and that clearly means that you have to be at it with some amount of diligence, some amount of perseverance. And when you do that, isn't it easy to get labeled as activists with an agenda?
That's right. I think, thanks very much, Uday. I think there's a difference between activist journalism and what I now call supari journalism. There is also a tendency And Mr. Puri referred to it. You know, it may have at times to do with ownership. It may have at times just to do with the nature of competition. 400 channels, everyone wants to, you know, sound louder than the other, sensationalize. That atmosphere which is being created, I think, is leading somewhere to a fall in professional standards. I mean, we cannot deny that. There is a fall in professional standards at one level. And some are going in the direction of supari journalism. Ki isko aaj, you know, Bal Thackeray started this actually. Bal Thackeray was the originator of supari journalism in Samna. Every day Bal Thackeray would look for one enemy. Aaj isko khatam karna hai. Now Bal Thackeray could get away with it because he was a politician, not a journalist actually. But when journalists start doing that, that's when I think the agendas come in. That, you know, and that's where half-truths and sensationalism takes over. I have no problem with activist journalism. I think we need activist journalism to make politicians uncomfortable, to make the powerful uncomfortable if it comes to that. Because the word activist in itself, I have no problem with. But supari journalism, which is with a predetermined agenda, is what, according to me, is bad journalism. And that's the worry, and that's what's happening at the moment at times.
Thanks, Rajdeep. Thanks for adding to the complication. Bad enough it was, we were having a very confused debate because of this whole activist journalism and responsibility. You added supari, one more layer to it. Let me just come back to Shekhar with one question. When you go back in history and you look back, a lot of those stories were really the stories that should have been done, you know. And how do you look at that? You know, those stories have stood the test of time, despite being the reporters and editors having taken a very activist position. They've stood the test of time primarily because they were also built on very, very solid journalistic principle and high-quality tradecraft.
In fact, you are making my point. That is the difference between active journalism, which is what we've been trying to do, and activist journalism, which was the response from many who responded to those stories early in the morning when they saw those stories without checking out anything. In medicine, in journalism, in law, there is no such thing as old-fashioned or new-fashioned. You still diagnose a problem and give the best possible medicine at that time. But you don't make up your mind early on. So, problem with journalism arises when you make up your mind. See, our job is so much fun as journalists because we have to do bullshit detection. The moment from bullshit detection, we go around, we switch to the side of repeating bullshit. And we think the angrier we look and the angrier we sound and we wag our finger at the other guy, how dare you do this? Indian soldiers are being beheaded and the army is doing nothing about it. There is a fact underlying that. The fact underlying that is that 2012 was the most peaceful history in the year in the history of the line of control. How many Indian soldiers got killed on the LOC in 2012, you tell me? 1. 2. One that was beheaded and one incident. Until then, not a single soldier was killed in 364 years. It's the most peaceful year on the LOC since 1973 when the LOC came into being. But if you mention that fact, then the answer is, but didn't Pakistanis behead one of our soldiers? Now, does that mean, don't confuse me with facts. That is the difference between active and activism.
Mr. Sarkar, you're the boss of a news organization that clearly doesn't encourage or allow activism in journalism.
It's the most active.
Hang on.
But, so, you know, two things from you. One, what is your take on this whole point of view that, you know, that's being expressed, that activism in journalism is necessarily a bad idea and it can only lead to disastrous or compromised consequences? Two, how do you choose what makes good journalism in Prasar Bharati? Because from where you stand, you try to be neutral, but there are a lot of critics who would say that because you're not active enough, you're actually very active on the side of the establishment.
You're very right on this score about the impression. But before that, I'll answer your first question. You've asked the right question because the only person in this panel who's supposed to be innately tame, which is another word for responsible, is supposed to be me. So my tameness or docility would qualify me eminently for the subject. And second is activism. Before coming, I asked somebody in Mandi House, that's the DD headquarters, what is activism? So they went on looking up the dictionary. That's their state of knowledge where activism is concerned. Now, fair enough. Having accepted all the guilt, let me now assume that, but the question is, responsibility can only come in when you have the capability to be responsible. My problem is that the act makes us autonomous, as everybody knows, but one wing, the news wing, is subjugated to government. So with that, I have problems, and I'm saying it quite openly. I mean, it's quite a fact. This is not. So where the question of taming or bringing in extra responsibility, bringing in responsibility to the state of dullness is concerned, you know very well as where we have the problems. But here the reverse is true. Reverse is that, A, we have certain mechanisms for bringing in responsibility, and most editors and most others do listen to the word of logic. But it's not only the word of logic and sentimental relations that go back to many years that does the trick. There are other things that have come in. A political agenda. The political agenda seems to be moving on consensus. Till yesterday, everybody was oohs and ahs about a particular party. Now, coming back, do you have the capability? It's economic agenda. There's a consensus of what the economic agenda should be. It's a predetermined consensus. It's a predetermined consensus, if I may use the term. It's a predetermined agenda. So anybody who deviates from the agenda becomes on the chopping board. So these are some of the questions. You see, all amount of vocabulary or vocal cords will not make up for the innate fact that you need to have the capability to carry out what you think is correct. I've seen Shekhar doing it at times. So, I mean, quite a lot of times, let's be fair to him. But so the capability arises from the fact that he would not perhaps try to swing from 40,000, 30,000 to 30 lakhs, because that would entail a certain dilution of standards or whatever. He has his own agenda. So the question is, can an activist media be responsible? The answer is it can be responsible only when it chooses to be responsible, when it is capable of being responsible. A trip on the Prime Minister's plane or the President's plane is taken as a normal thing. To take another normal thing, you perhaps refuse. But there are many things that are not normal. The same things that are bound down the bureaucracy to failure, like giving of plots, giving of sweeteners, is the same thing that's acting upon the system. We are in the same boat, brother. Move on.
Thank you very much.
I'll just add a small line that, in all this, I also disagree with this Broadcasters Association call for bans on covering Aam Aadmi Party. It's none of our business to ban anybody. We have to have broader of shoulders to take abuse and carry on fairly.
Thanks very much. You said, there is a question, Arun, that came up. Mr. Sarkar also mentioned that, is of capability. And you talked about it. Today, with similar background, you could go and join any of the companies headed by the people sitting in this room. And hence, there is a genuine pressure on the quality of talent that journalism is getting. And there is a much greater scrutiny of the work that the journalists are doing. So it's a bit of a double whammy. Do you think that has contributed to this whole debate? And the real debate is actually about the quality of journalism and whether we can afford, whether our business models allow us to create and invest in good journalism?
I'd just like to put one, before I deal with the quality of journalism, is the fact that media has become like Bollywood. There used to be a time when every person who made a little bit of money wanted to make a film because they wanted to be next to glamour and beauties and so forth. Now the new game is media. Anybody who has a bit of money wants to have power and influence and gets into the media. Especially television channels. That's why we end up having 400 television channels. The result of that is these people are not there for the business. They're not there for the profession as such, for journalism. They're there with, you could call them active media actually, activist media, because they're actually with an agenda. They are people who get into media in order to promote their commercial interests. And these people are not interested in journalistic standards. These people come in, they actually spoil the market for people whose only job is journalism. They come and pay top dollar salaries, they attract people out of them, and they make them do all kinds of things. This, in fact, reduces the level of journalism in this country. And this is an increasing phenomenon. It's not only in TV, it's also in print. Every industrialist somewhere along the line feels, oh, I must have a media house with me. So it's I think a problem which the media space has to deal with. As far as the capability of journalism, and no, the other thing is this business of, especially on television, is this tyranny of TRPs. Because there is so much competition, because there are so many channels, everybody's out there trying to break the news first, trying to grab TRPs. Every little thing is breaking news, because I don't know if you people know that the trick here is that if you hold the viewer for 1 minute, he becomes a viewer. And that's the only reason why you find that all news channels carry breaking news all the time. Because you see breaking news, you're inclined to stop. And that's what I call the tyranny of TRPs. So all this has led to a situation where people take shortcuts. And I totally agree with Rajdeep, is the fact that we have not invested enough in improving the capability of our journalists and our journalism. I think it's also because of the reason, not only because of the competition, it's because TV has grown so fast that getting good TV journalists they have grown with the industry, in a sense. There are people who've come from print who are not necessarily good in TV. I mean, unlike Rajdeep, I think you came from print. But there is a problem. There are lots of young people who get into to TV journalism. They get on the screen, their Dhobi recognizes them, somebody else recognizes them, they think they're so powerful, and they don't have the maturity to deal with it. And they end up not doing good journalism. That is, finding out facts, checking them out, finding out good stories. So I would agree the fact that there's a lot of work to be done within media houses to ensure good journalism. And the fact that I think a lot of it responsibility rests on editors who actually are the filters of what actually goes through. So I think that that's correct. We are responsible, but if you look at it as a whole, in Indian media, mainstream media, not the fly-by-night operators, have by and large been responsible. They have systems, they try to make sure that what they publish is correct. There's obviously mistakes happen anywhere, but I think that mainstream media by and large is responsible media.
So you're saying, and I completely agree with you, that there is this mainstream media which is run by professional media companies, owned by professional media owners, and where there is a certain amount of onus on building credibility and high quality journalism. And they have been by and large responsible. And then there is this rest of media where all kinds of dodgy interest groups come in to just own a piece of influence, and it's very easy. You can just come in, spend 20 crores, get yourself a news channel, and if nothing else, you will have access to a few members of parliament.